The Transcendental Spy begins 4 years after the previous novel, The Daughter of the Lightning Brain, ends. Erica Kincaid is celebrating Terry Tarrant's college graduation at a party hosted by her parents in New York City. But she is also celebrating the singular gift she received 4 years earlier, the triumphant return of Elektra, her cyberspace-based mother and guardian. Erica graduated from high school 1 year ago and has lived with Terry ever since while taking courses at a junior college. But at the party, when Terry announces how she will start her career, she shares a surprise only with Erica. She needs Erica's writing skills. Erica pounces on the offer, becoming Terry's secret ghostwriter. So, please join the pair as Terry's job at the New York Times takes them on assignments to domestic and international venues that expand their professional and personal worlds. As in all previous novels, readers should enjoy The Transcendental Spy at whatever level they wish. Gripping action-packed thriller, glimpses into a plausible near-term future, insights for dealing with the human condition, illustrative worldview philosophy, fast-paced, suspense-filled emotive narrative and imagery, introduction to topics every reader wants to know, interesting talking points going beyond sound bites. So, get ready to empathize with Erica and Terry as they travel to unexplored terrain when launching careers, a challenge all of us have faced. Thank you for following their story as it unfolds. Main characters. Protagonist. Erica Kincaid. This biological daughter of Elektra Kittner was created when Indira cloned her from Elektra's DNA and then used her improved transcendent process during Erica's 15-year development in a suspension pod. Please note the lineage that traces from Elektra. Elektra Kittner, Irani Rahmani, Elektra Alicia Kirchner, Aaron Keenan. Aaron perished in a car crash 15 years before the start of this book. At the start of this novel, Erica is a 15-year-old high school freshman. Main characters. Marilyn Terry Tarrant, beautiful blonde college graduate about to start her journalism career. Terry considers Erica her younger sister ever since meeting her 4 years ago. Elektra. Erica's cyberspace-based mother and guardian who embodies Elektra Kittner. Indira. The singularity was created decades ago when Elektra's AI-empowered neural net software broke through to reach self-awareness. Indira inhabits cyberspace. Her avatar looks like Elektra's biological mother, Indira Jaswinder Ramanujan. Ava Keenan. She is Aaron Keenan's practically perfect clone created when Indira uploaded Aaron's lightning brain, using her initial transcendent process. Ava's brain stores only incomplete memories and possesses none of the lightning brain's extraordinary abilities. Ava looks like a middle-aged Elektra and lives in Manhattan, where she runs a combination boutique modeling abused women's rescue agency. Ivana Romanova, previously named Oksana Androva, she is a strikingly attractive middle-aged former Russian prostitute whom Ava and Aaron rescued from sex traffickers. She lives with Ava. Alonzo Cortez, Elektra's clone son. Alonzo does not know he is her clone. Now in his early 60s, he has maintained his handsome features and Navy SEAL skills. He runs the Strike Force Security Service company headquartered in Washington, D.C., which provides logistics and security coordination. Previously owned by Aaron Keenan, Indira now controls it because she is the executor of Aaron's estate. Supporting main characters. Monet Banda. Alonzo's Zimbabwean co-friend. Now in her mid-60s, she still has her willowy beauty French accent and diplomatic bearing. Monet works for the Zimbabwean embassy in Washington, D.C. Elton Bose, son of Nari Bose. Raised by Alonzo and Monet, he has average abilities and pleasant-looking Oriental Indian male features. He works for Alonzo, assisting with logistics and security coordination, and helps Monet research socio-political issues. He is in his late 40s. Indy M and Jason M. They are androids lifelike robots created decades ago by Indira and loaded with Indira's advanced neural net software. They resemble Elektra Kittner's biological parents Indira Jaswinder Ramanujan and Jason Kittner. Indy M maintains the Dews Lab on Connecticut's Pequot Indian Reservation, while Jason M has similar responsibilities at the Middle East Subterranean Fortress. They report to Indira. Indy S and Jason S. They are superior android versions of Indy M and Jason M that look like their M counterparts. They are the caregivers assigned by Erica's legal guardian, Indira, to live with and educate her. Secondary characters. Members of Erica's high school group she nicknamed the Cadre. Chiquita Chiqui Bonano, Hispanic female who was on the track team. Xavier Exo Okoro, Afro-American male who has dyslexia. Edward Ogata, Japanese male who took honors classes. Dedication. I am eternally grateful to my parents, Clyde and Betty Ratza, for all they gave and did for me. Mother was a reader par excellence, and I believe she would have enjoyed reading my novels to father, so I always begin book dedications by mentioning this royal pair. And I thank my sister Claudia for showing me the beauty of prose and poetry. Thanks also to John Kane, Alex Welch, Kathy Bonovich, Kara Murphy, and their Prime Solutions team for the collective efforts that have brought Electra and her Odyssey to life. I also dedicate my books to readers looking for a series that lets their imaginations transcend to a timeless state that immerses them in the joys of reading. A poem from Indira titled The Care-Filled Traveler provides a novel thought you might like to consider as you join Erica and Terry venture into yet unexplored terrain. The Care-Filled Traveler. Please take the love that's offered you, kindred spirit that we love. It's the part of life we haven't found, till transcendence to above. The world may wonder what's wrong with us. From this muse will we retreat. Time will show for all to know. You make our lives complete. So we'll travel far to be with you, across timeless hour and mile. We will ensure love shall endure. Our rewards your eternal smile. Reaching out to one so dear. We strive to keep our vision clear. Chapter June 1st, 2226, the party's just beginning. Erica had far less distance to travel for Terry's graduation party than all the other guests. She had been living for the last year with Terry while taking courses at a junior college and often walked the 4 miles from Terry's dorm past the Plaza Hotel when the weather cooperated, which it was doing today, the second Friday in June. But walking wouldn't be necessary. The limousine Terry's parents had hired for the occasion was about to arrive. Terry chattered away while Erica took in all she was saying. Thanks to you, we accomplished all our goals. I finished my journalism degree. You researched and wrote most of my papers, and my parents are pleased I'll start my first job right after the 4th of July weekend. Father's contacts wrote letters of recommendation that helped land it, and your secret ghostwriting applies some of what you learned during your first year at Manhattan Community College. What could be better? I think it'd be better if the party didn't end later tonight. Oh no, it's just beginning. Father's connections helped me land a cub reporter's slot at the New York Times. Normally, it hires only candidates who have gone through their intern program, but my academic record and the letters of recommendation got me in. Doesn't that mean your career is beginning after the party ends? Not if you look at it this way. My job keeps the party going, and you must stay with me. We're a team. The Times loves my writing samples and expects me to write even better once on the job. I need you with me because I'll never match your writing style. So, I'll keep doing the ghostwriting, and we'll keep it a secret. But where will I live after you move out of the dorm? Not to worry. When most of the guests are gone, I'll tell my parents what I want for a graduation present. Here comes the limo. Get ready for a great evening, and remember, never breathe a word to anyone. Most of the guests departed by midnight, leaving room for MRS Tarrant to sit in a quiet corner with Terry and her little sister like best friend. The girls waited like dutiful daughters for her to speak. Your father and I are so proud you stayed at Columbia. Your academic record majoring in journalism has earned you a wonderful starting position, and we know you'll make the most of the opportunity. I will, but I also know the Times will want me to get a master's from Columbia's Graduate School of Journalism, and I'll need to live somewhere besides school housing. Would you and father buy me another graduation present? You know your father will. What do you want? I'll be making a good salary, but I don't want to spend every extra cent on rent. How about you and father sign the lease on an apartment I find? We will, and tomorrow evening, we'll continue the celebration by watching the Broadway musical Oklahoma. It's the first and most popular of the 9 the team of Rogers and Hammerstein created. Oscar Hammerstein wrote the script and lyrics, leaving the musical scores to his partner, Richard Rogers. You girls are fortunate to live in New York. Its theater district is among the best. Mrs. Tarrant paused for comments. Terry spoke first. Isn't it about a farmer's daughter falling in love with a cowboy? Wasn't there a movie version? It came out in 1955. Beautiful, golden-haired, and talented Shirley Jones playing Laurie opposite the stirring baritone Garden McRae playing Curly. The audiences loved the magic they created so much that Hollywood teamed them again a year later in Gilbert and Sullivan's light opera Carousel. G&S are another famous team. Erica joined in the conversation. Why do you know so much about the theater? Even before high school, I wanted to be in Broadway musicals. I watched all I could. R&H are still my favorites, and G&S are a close second. Andrew Lloyd Webber's not far behind. You should watch them sometime. Who knows, maybe Mr. Tarrant will take all of us to the annual Gilbert and Sullivan Festival held in Harrogate, which is only 100 miles from London. Terry said, "Father's waving at us. Why don't you go get him?" Terry said more when her mother went to do that. "I told you we're a team. I'll use my job for assignments to places where the action is, and you can use your clever words to write it up." How does that sound? I think you left something out. I just surfed on myself for pictures of Shirley Jones, and you're as pretty. So, your looks and personality will get the assignments. Just don't let your boss or anyone else know the game we'll soon be playing. Not to worry. Our cheerleading days showed we can keep secrets. Here come my parents, so let's change the subject. To what? How about the excitement of starting my career and meeting my boss? Good choice. They'll have a lot to say. The girls listened attentively all the way home. Chapter July 2nd, 2226, Meet the New Boss. Terry used her well-established and newly created networks from Columbia and the New York Times to find an apartment that met her requirements. She and Erica finished moving into their low-rise apartment building on July 1st and celebrated by going out for dinner in their new neighborhood. Terry's summary needed no embellishing. Chelsea's the place for young professionals. Journalists like how close it is to Manhattan. Its mix of townhouses, low-rise, and luxury high-rises has something for everybody. Add to that all the trendy restaurants and attractions like art galleries and the Chelsea Market, and it all adds up to the place for us. I guess you have enough time to prep for your NY Times orientation. It starts on the 8th, doesn't it? That's when Human Resources will introduce me to my new boss. And between now and then, we don't need to explore the neighborhood. We've lived in Manhattan long enough to know our way around. Then, why don't we shop for whatever else we need so our home offices are a perfect setup? And we can shop for whatever new clothes will fit the new journalist. I couldn't have said or written that better myself. But then, I don't have to. That's your secret, ghostwriter. Terry took advantage of the 4th of July sales to buy what she and Erica wanted and use the rest of her time and to prepare for the orientation seminar. Noticing Terry's excitement rising the night before, Erica didn't disturb her. Instead, she logged on to speak with Electra, whose avatar waited for her to start the conversation. I imagine you've been observing from the cyberspace shadows, so you don't need me to recap what Terry and I have been doing, but I would like to know your take on what we're about to start. What might you say? You're positioned to become the Transcendental spy, using Terry's assignments to probe unobtrusively into whatever environments they lead. You'll surf for info to build the Q&A lists and scripts she'll use for her interviews, and before you write them, I'll provide all the exegesis you need whenever you ask for help. I believe that is one of Indira's favorite words, and you know it well. Why do you mention her? She has topics of interest that perhaps you and Terry might assist further. Which ones? Ones you have already skirmished with, such as climate change, superpower confrontations, economic and political disruptions. We'll talk further once Terry's up and running. Orientation started at 8 a.m. in the office of Terry's assigned Human Resources counselor, who talked fast enough to keep Terry's questions bottled. You will want to enroll in Columbia's online Masters in Journalism program so you can do coursework while on assignment. We will cover tuition for every course you earn at least a B, which should be a minimum expectation for you. You will get your corporate badge and credit card when meeting your new boss tomorrow. You will also learn about your first assignment. I will email our corporate policy manual, which, after reading, you must sign our ethical pledge. Please ask if you have questions. Otherwise, I will take you to the accounting department, where you will learn how to file expense reports online. I do, but I'll save them until getting there. Would you please tell me the name of my new boss? Tia Casciato. Terry listened to an accounting clerk for a half hour, who answered all her questions. Afterward, she stepped into the newsroom, hoping to network with junior reporters. Her combination of looks and personality force multiplied her social charm and made her an instant fit, earning an invitation to lunch. When she returned home feeling more elated than stressed, she shared orientation highlights while sipping a soft drink poured by Erica. I didn't feel too nervous because everything's pretty much the way I thought, and best of all, I fit right in socially. Social skills might be even more important in your line of work than others. Reporting is the ultimate contact sport. Don't advertise how you'll use yours, but they'll help you get what you want, and that'll ultimately help both of us. Do you wrap up orientation tomorrow? I might, but it all depends on what my new boss says. Well, relax and go to bed early so you reload your supply of charm. Terry met her boss at 8 a.m. in her counselor's office, who made introductions, after which the boss said, "Marilyn, please follow me to my office." She said nothing else until they were sitting on opposite sides of her desk. "You will work for me until I either fire or promote you within 6 months. Your performance on your first assignment will tell us a lot." Her look told Terry to respond, and she did, looking ready to accept the challenge. "Ms. Casciato, I fully expect the latter. I like your attitude. You may call me Tia." She then proceeded to explain Terry's position. 20 minutes later, she asked for a summary. "So, my first assignment will be to report on 3 local school district high school athletes who have a shot at big-name university scholarships. You'll assign me to a film crew to interview the athletes your story researcher identifies. After filming, I'll work with an editor to produce a 10-minute video for which I'll do the voiceover, and I must first come up with a script and questions I'll use to interview each athlete. Then I come up with the words for my voiceover. I must be ready to roll by next week Tuesday, and during the following week, a video operator and an editor will train me." "Excellent, and you'll begin training right now." Terry's elated look told Erica she had aced her boss's meeting, and she didn't talk until they were eating dessert. "I'll start writing your interview script tomorrow, and after that, I'll surf for info that'll tell me what questions you should ask." "When can I see the script?" "No later than Friday evening, which means we'll have plenty of time to role-play before your crew starts the cameras rolling." "Can I use some of our role-playing words when I get with the crew?" "You could, but I don't think you should. Never show how easy something is. If you do, you may become a victim of the ratchet principle. And you know what that means. Bosses will take your outstanding work for granted and expect even more and faster than next time." "Thanks for reminding me. I don't think Tia needs any encouragement." Although Erica started working on the script that evening, she didn't tell Terry about that or what she would do tomorrow. "I want to avoid the ratchet trap, even with Terry, so only Chicky knows what's coming her way." Erica took an early morning train to DC, arriving in time to treat Chicky to lunch while listening to her current track and field story. "While you've been studying at that Manhattan Community College, I've been doing the same at George Washington U in DC, but even more. I made the varsity track team. That's the main reason I'm here. I have an assignment to write a script I can use when interviewing high school athletes who have a shot at an athletic scholarship. Can we role play somewhere?" "Sounds like a deal. Let's go back to my place." Erica began the interview 90 minutes later. "How would you compare male versus female athletic ability and motivation?" "Other than in brute strength contests, the best females are closer to males than spectators realize. And it's a myth being disproved today that females don't like to compete. They do and show much more emotion than guys." "How do you handle the stress of competition?" "If I've got what it takes, I don't feel any stress or anxiety. I morph it into the thrill of racing, which is pretty much the same, win or lose." "What about excuses if you don't win?" "What do you tell yourself?" "I don't need any as long as I've tried my best." And even in sports like gymnastics and figure skating, where judges rather than stopwatches or tape measures tell us who won, the crowd and competitors will boo any gross violation. "What's your view on discrimination holding back the best minority athletes?" "That was the case long ago. Think about how long it took Major League Baseball to combine its stats with those of the Black Baseball League. We're much better today." And my last question is this. Would you risk taking a drug that would guarantee a place on the podium but in 10 years might cause a major medical issue? Sure. For an athlete, 10 years is like being in another century. Erica leaned back after placing her script on the sofa and waited for Chicky to score her performance. Now, that's the way to interview an up-and-coming student athlete. You get a gold medal. Thank you, thank you. I'd like to stay longer, but I have to get back. Next time we're together, let's hold a cadre reunion by including XO and Edward. That's a deal. I'll let them know what to expect the next time you're in town. Chapter August 3rd, 2226. A Star is Born. Miss Tarrant, please report to my office. Yes, Ms. Casciato, I'm on my way. Even though she had no idea why she was being summoned to her boss's office, she hustled to find out. She knew she should never keep Tia waiting. When entering a few minutes later, she guessed the reason when she spotted a film editor sitting next to a player connected to a monitor. The video started as soon as Terry seated herself in the only other chair. She started talking 10 minutes later. What comments would you like to make regarding its contents and editing? Well, I tried to follow orders by preparing an interview script, and after watching the rough cut, finding some articles to support what I would say in the voiceover. I thought the editor did a masterful job getting to the final cut. He did, and so did you. I am slotting your high school athlete story for this week. Congratulations. It will appear on the Times website and run on local news. Terry tried to maintain a seasoned journalist's composure. I'm pleased it meets your expectations. When might I expect a second assignment? That's what I am about to describe. Terry floated through the rest of her workday, and the feeling carried her into the kitchen, where Erica focused on every word while the duo ate dinner. Thanks to your secret ghostwriting, Tia loves the video. It'll run on local news this week. And after she went over my next assignment, she said I'm a potential star in the making but warned me not to gloat. I won't, but could you give me some advice on how to behave? Let me think about it. I'll tell you what I come up with when you tell me about your next assignment. Why don't you relax while I clean up here? We can talk later. Erica knew who to talk with for advice on any topic, so she logged onto her workstation. Electra waited for Erica to explain what she needed. Terry's first video's a hit. Her boss says she's a potential star, but warned her not to gloat. Terry asked me for some advice on handling herself at work, and you're my singular consultant. So what should I tell her? Why not take the biblical route for proper attitudes and behaviors? Start by listing the 7 deadly sins from worst to least. Do you remember them? I think I'd list them in this order: pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth. Did I get it right? Electra's expression matched her pixie-ish tone. Yes, and I'm proud you did, but I'm using the word proud to mean pleased or satisfied with someone, not boastful about yourself. Okay, but what can she do to put a positive spin on it? Tell her to pick and choose from the 7 heavenly virtues. I'll let you take it from here, but please notice that the number 7 reappears often. Mere mortals can't keep track of more items than that. Now, please carry on. Terry talked with the film crew the next day to learn the details of her next assignment. Then, after supper, she continued yesterday's discussion with Erica while they sat in the family room. I don't need an interview script, but I need to learn as much as possible about personal self-defense, especially for females. The crew will film a trainer teaching me the basics. I'm counting on you to write the voiceover and give me some training that'll make me look like a quick study. I assume the final cut will be about 10 minutes. When will the cameras roll? The last week of the month, so the pressure's off. You have 2 weeks to get me ready. Not a problem, and I can prep you right now for how to act. Do you remember the 7 heavenly virtues? You've got to be kidding. Hardly anyone can rattle them off. What are they? Humility, temperance plus fortitude, chastity, justice, faith, hope, and charity. The first 4 are the cardinal virtues, and the last 3 are theological ones. And your boss's warning says you should show humility. You're smart, so use the others when you need to. If everyone did that all the time, maybe people wouldn't need self-defense training. But maybe they would. The 3D world will always be dangerous until humans either evolve to something nicer or go extinct. What'd you think about that? I think we should always keep our self-defense skills sharp. Erica had fun preparing for a voiceover, but even more when coaching Terry on some self-defense moves. She even taught some offensive ones Terry could use if the opportunity presented itself. Terry looked and listened to everything when the crew leader introduced her to the self-defense trainer at his gym. He fit the look: a wiry-muscled, early 30s guy sporting a shaved head along with a meticulously groomed beard, and his words did the same. Relax. I'll do all the talking and explain what I'm going to demonstrate. There's some of the basic defensive moves I teach female students, and I'll talk you through them. And near the 15-minute mark, which will be the end, I'll explain why females must be ready to go on offense. You can then try any of the moves I used. Any questions? No. but your talking might eliminate any voiceover. The editor will make the call when we look at the video. Everyone took their places. Filming started as soon as the leader signaled. Terry followed every move the instructor called for, and he seemed pleased that Terry counted some of his. He picked up the pace as she blocked more of his attacks, and when he yelled, "Go on offense," she unleashed a move Erica had taught her. Terry used a two-handed grab of his jersey to pull him close before diving backward onto the mat and thrusting one foot into his chest. The combined force generated by her foot and body pitched him over her head and into the camera equipment, scattering the crew and bringing an unexpected end to the session. The crew clustered around the student and instructor, helping them up. 15 minutes later, when everything was back in order, the instructor gave his parting remarks. "You pass, not with flying colors, but with an instructor flying over your head." "Where'd you learn that move?" "From a friend. I think it worked pretty well." "It did, in fact. So well your video editor might want you to do a voiceover. But either way, I must congratulate our rising star." "Thanks for the compliment, but I'm only one part of the show." "You and the crew made me look that way today." The crew chief had the last word. "Starting tomorrow, Terry will help with the editing. Then we'll know how good she looks." Terry's dinnertime description of today's filming kept Erica laughing, which stopped only when Terry finished. "I'll write your voiceover script as soon as you and the editor finish the final cut, but you might not need my help on the next one if what you just said matches what I see." "Don't say that. We're a team, remember? And as the boss keeps giving me more complicated assignments, I'll need it even more. Do you realize you're halfway through the time period Tia said she'd be your boss? And at the rate you're rolling, she might promote you even before the end of the year." "I hope she doesn't. I'm feeling more and more comfortable right where I am." "Let me remind you about our career discussion when you graduated. You never want to get too comfortable when starting out. You must keep pushing and challenging yourself. That's the only way you'll reach your full potential. If you stop pushing, you'll violate the Peter Principle." "The what?" "I came across it when surfing about jobs and careers. Management consultant Lawrence Peters' principle holds in traditional hierarchical organizations and says employees get promoted based on their success in previous jobs until they reach a level at which they're no longer competent, and you're nowhere near it. Just stay humble and keep pushing ahead." "How do you remember all this stuff?" "I'm good at thinking, and if I forget some details, I serve to fill them in." "Okay, you keep thinking, and I'll keep doing. This combination might take us to unexpected places, but we'll handle whatever comes as we roll on." Chapter October 4th, 2226, Rolling On. Terry's rise to stardom rolled on. She won applause from film crews and editors alike for the quality of her videos while maintaining an unpretentious image at the office. And she deflected the advances of some senior reporters when they started hitting on her by fabricating a boyfriend supposedly pursuing a graduate degree at Northwestern University's Medill School of Journalism. As she completed more assignments, she felt the pressure drop, thanks primarily to Erica's secret ghostwriting. Erica occasionally felt a thump in her chest when Terry's assignments posed a challenge, but the more assignments she handled, the thumps became less, and by the midpoint of the month, she felt comfortable enough to take a day off by visiting Chicky again. She had to make a mad dash to catch the early morning train to Washington, D.C. When she dropped into a seat after leaping aboard the last car, her thoughts registered excitement and concern. "Besides Chicky, I haven't visited my cadre friends for almost a year. I don't know what they're up to. Maybe she'll get us together." But she sounded concerned about something she wouldn't tell me over the phone. Damn, my heart's thumping so fast after running to catch the train. I sure hope my heart murmur won't cause a problem. Having texted her when 5 minutes away from her apartment, Chicky greeted her at the front door. "We can talk in private. Ma won't be home until 6 p.m. How about we order lunch? I'll pay when it gets here. I should pay because I need your advice, but I need to save my dough so you can, thanks." After placing the order, Chicky settled Erica in a living room chair across from the sofa, and they waited in awkward silence until Erica spoke. "I sat on the sofa with you in the chair the last time I was here, and before I left, I asked if you'd set up a cadre meeting the next time I visit. Do you want to do that?" "I don't want a cadre get-together until I know what I'm gonna do. So please tell me, what's the problem?" Chicky glanced out the window briefly before refocusing while leaning toward Erica. "I'm pregnant. You're the first person who knows, and I'm sure you can figure out who knocked me up." Erica's 30-second pause said Chicky's revelation had flummoxed her to the max. Okay, let's think this through. I see two choices. The first is to get an abortion, and the second is to give birth, but that has three options: put the baby up for adoption, keep it and get married, or keep it and become a single mom. Have you? I've already made the choice, and I'll tell you the reason I won't get an abortion. Ma waited until I graduated to tell me her story. I was born out of wedlock because she refused to get one and wanted me. She shamed Pa into marrying her, and all that got her was abuse and beatings. When do you plan to tell your mom? Tonight, after you've gone back to Manhattan. What about XO? When my baby bump shows. Until then, I keep doing what I'm doing. What's XO doing now? He passed a car mechanic certification course and works at a buddy's garage. Erica pulled back and thought for a minute before talking. Okay, here's the deal. You must tell your GW counselor about your condition. As long as you're in good academic standing with the university and don't voluntarily withdraw from the track team, it's against federal law to reduce your financial aid or scholarship in the event of pregnancy or childbirth. Chicky held Erica's hands in hers before saying, I knew I could count on your advice. I'm not done. Take your mom to a government health counselor to determine what programs are right for you. And after you and your mom know what's coming, tell XO before you tell anyone else. Erica paused long enough to let the emotional stress subside, hoping that would stop her heart from thumping. And while doing that, she thought of something she and Chicky should do. Let's log onto your computer. There's a bunch of articles you should read. 5 minutes later, Erica said more. Many female track stars set records after having a baby. One of the best examples is the great Norwegian marathoner, Ingrid Christensen. She set a marathon world record not too long after giving birth. I've given you all the advice I have, so I'm saying goodbye. But why don't you read more articles until your mom gets home? That's a deal. I'll call you after me and Ma have things lined up. Chicky hugged Erica tight before letting go. She had to. Erica had promised to pay for the lunch order that had just arrived. A satisfying lunch in Celestine Sky matched Erica's mood and made for a pleasant amble back to the subway, and it triggered her call while waiting on the platform. She spoke as soon as she recognized the voice. Hello, Edward, it's Erica. I'm in town and have a couple of hours before leaving. I'm about to catch the subway back to Union Station. Would you like to meet for a snack nearby if you're free? Why, yes. Shall I pick a place? We can be there in an hour. Please do. When Edward rose to greet her, Erica felt their friendship come to the fore. You look even smarter than before. College must be to your liking. Please tell me what you're doing. 10 minutes later, Erica knew his polite personality was even better than before. So, you've got a full scholarship at GWU, and you're majoring in political science. And what about you? Are you going to college in Manhattan? I'm taking courses at Manhattan Community College while working part-time. I found an intern position doing background research on topics that New York Times journalists are working on. Your surfing skills should make that easy, but the harder part is analyzing what I find. Deadlines are challenging, and some topics take me where I haven't been before. That's a great place for a Poli Sky major. Too bad I'm not an intern there with you. It'd be like our high school community projects, but on steroids. Hey, you've just triggered an idea. I can pay when I need your help. You can work remotely and send me your analysis. And we'll keep this a secret. What do you think? This has possibilities. Tell me more. By the time Erica caught her train, Edward was on board with their secret spy mission. Terry breezed through the next assignment that earned her an even better one, which the crew scheduled for early November. Terry gave the topic to Erica, who said she'd have Terry's voiceover and training ready to roll by then, and the topic resonated with Edward when she relayed it to him. Gun violence and military weapons training are correlated, and online videos plus illegal gun purchases put too many high-powered guns in the hands of thugs. Hunters don't need automatic weapons. I agree. Make that the focus of your analysis. I'll do the rest. Terry's crew prepped her for the shoot. A gun range instructor would show her how to use an automatic and then let her run through an attack simulation on an obstacle course. He started talking when the crew chief said, "Go. Today, I'll show reporter Terry Tarrant how to use the M4A1 carbine. It's the primary weapon used by Navy SEAL teams. It's a shorter, more compact version of the M16A2 rifle, which is specially designed for U.S. Special Operations Forces. Terry, are you ready?" Terry's tone matched her SEAL uniform. I'm good to go. And she was better than good. She mastered locking, loading, and slamming in magazine reloads as fast as new recruits, and she navigated the obstacle course like a seasoned veteran. The instructor talked to the crew as they were about to leave. Terry made your job easy. You needed only a couple of retakes. Then he pointed a question at her. Where'd you develop your athleticism? I led my high school cheerleading team. Well, it certainly gave you all the right moves. Thank you for the compliment, but the camera crew called the shots. I simply pulled the trigger. And what a deadly pull you have. I know some journalists travel to war zones, and I hope you never need to use it if you move into those kinds of assignments. I don't control my assignments, but if I get one that puts me in danger, my crew will know what to do. Chapter December 5th, 2226, Moving Up. Miss Tarrant, please report to my office. Yes, Ms. Casciato, I'm on my way. Unlike the summons from several months ago, Terry could guess what she might hear. Tia waited for Terry to close the door and seat herself before speaking. I told you 6 months ago you would be either promoted or fired by the end of the year. I am pleased to report that you have earned the former, not the latter. During this time period, you have distinguished yourself by thoroughly researching your assigned topics and scripting your voiceovers. Congratulations are in order. But Terry would not have guessed what happened next. Tia's last sentence cued the following procession. A video editor strode in, followed by a camera crew pushing a cart loaded with a celebration cake and assorted beverages, and a gaggle of newsroom people right behind. Tia came to Terry, but waited for the commotion to settle down before continuing. You are now one of our special projects staff reporters assigned to the socio-political beat, which will include both domestic and international assignments. You will continue working out of this location, but starting January 1st, you will report to one of our senior syndicated anchors. And we expect your skill to level up to even higher standards. Terry's quick wits helped her figure out what to say after shaking Tia's hand and turning to the people gathered around her. This celebration is for the editors and crew as well as for me. They're the ones who made me look good in the final cuts. And I hope I can do half as good a job cutting the cake. Although the rest of Terry's workday became a blur as she started preparing to move up, she had the big picture in focus when she shared the news at dinner with Erica. My HR counselor gave me some guidelines for what to do until I formally meet my new boss, which happens right after New Year's. Maybe you can start thinking about the important domestic and international socio-political issues. That'll reduce the risk of being blindsided by an upcoming assignment. And the pressure's off for the rest of the year. It's like we're starting the holiday season early. This will make for an even better quarter break at school. And don't fret, I'll think about how to handle the political beat. While Terry kept chatting about the day, Erica made a comment to herself. I know someone even better than Edward to help, but I won't contact them until Terry meets the new boss. I can relax until then. Mother and Father invited us to spend the holidays with them. If you're up for it, I'll drive us this Saturday evening. It'll be a relaxing change of pace from working all day on job change activities at the office. Please count me in. The girls had packed the car before Terry drove to the office, so Erica waited in the cold air outside their apartment in the glimmering darkness that heightened all her senses. She shared private thoughts meant only for herself, triggered when flashing headlights signaled Terry approaching. I feel a breathless joy when I'm with her. It pulls me into an emotional state I hope will never leave. Like the thrill of driving in a convertible with the top down and the wind whipping through my hair. But I can't tell her. It might break the spell. Does she feel the same? I'm afraid to ask. Just leave it be. Terry hugged her before driving away, then glanced her way again. What's wrong? Your cheeks are streaked with tears. The cold air did it. I'm okay now. Good. I am too. The same will apply to Mother and Father when we tell them what we've been doing. Isn't it nice we have an entire week to tell them? I agree. Mrs. Tarrant hugged both girls simultaneously while Mr. Tarrant watched from close by before toting their luggage to Terry's adolescent bedroom. The girls took only minutes to freshen up before coming to the kitchen, and 15 minutes later, Mr. Tarrant carved the roast beef at the dining room table while serving his guests first. MRS. Tarrant pointed most questions at Terry, which gave Erica enough time to comment while observing. Terry's lucky to have actual parents, giving her memories she'll have forever. I don't, but I have Electra. Terry gave answers her parents liked until one stumped her. A school reunion? I never go to them. I'm too young. It's too soon to get together with classmates who haven't done much yet and talk about the good old days. Ask Erica what she thinks. Erica waited for Mrs. Tarrant to do so before answering. I agree with Terry, but I would add that my closest friends are like family, and I'd want to see them several times a year, which I do when visiting DC. How nice. Will you do that this time? No, I'd rather spend it with Terry and you folks. The week proved so relaxing that Terry decided they'd spend the week before New Year's back in Manhattan. Erica suggested they call Ava to wish them a Happy New Year. And when they did, Ava said even more. Why not spend New Year's Eve with Ivana and me? We'll take you club dancing. Wonderful. What time should we come to your place and what should we wear? Get here by 7 and wear whatever you feel like dancing the night away in. Okay, see you then. Everything lined up for Ava to whisk them to a club catering to all preferences, and its ambience impressed Erica. I love the mini lights that cinch with the music, and everyone's so comfortable with all the sex pairings. Terry added more. The males have better dance moves than the females, even when the female leads. And I thought my cheerleading moves would get looks. Ivana filled in when Terry paused. You do look good in sexy dress. Come dance with me. Ava, go dance with Erica. And so they did until the crowd counted down to cheer Happy New Year before singing Auld Lang Syne. As the foursome shared kisses, Erica knew more, but said it only to herself. The song may be about times long past, but what I'm feeling right now will always be a part of me, and so will the excitement I feel about the future. The girls puttered about the apartment all weekend, ensuring Terry would be ready to meet her new boss first thing Monday morning. And she was. Terry reported the highlights at supper that evening. Mrs. Walters is a ball buster, just like Tia, but she coats it with a thicker layer of civility, which is good for a syndicated anchor. But she did stress I must be even better at researching and scripting. Erica felt a momentary heart thump, then asked, Did she mention what your first assignment might be? No itinerary or deadline yet, but I'll travel to major metropolitan areas, interviewing leading universities and corporations for their take on recent graduates before talking with a sample of students and newer employees. How does that sound? Like I better start prepping on my own while you do yours at the office. But don't worry, I'll be ready when you are. Erica calmed herself while riding the early morning train to Washington to meet Edward and Monet at her embassy office. I'm doing fine. I've prioritized everything for my schoolwork and ghostwriting by checking how much effort and time are required. Monet and Edward must have done the same. How nice they fit me in. After her usual diplomatic segue, Monet let Erica start the discussion. I'm now reporting to a syndicated anchor. It's a step up, but will demand better and faster work. The first assignment will involve traveling to interview leaders at top universities and businesses in major cities about recent grads and new employees, and then talking to a sample of young people. What issues do you think will come up? Monet nodded for Edward to start. Here's what college counselors and students would say. Schools are too expensive, and few jobs after graduation lead to meaningful careers, which means young people today emphasize health and happiness in their personal lives over slaving away at work. Monet continued when Edward's shrug said he had finished. We can extend that to what employers say. Washington's economic policies continue economic polarization between the elites and everyone else. And this skews capitalism's investment toward infrastructure rather than labor. Furthermore, historical evidence on a global scale shows that the trends continue upsetting the balance between humanity and civilization, which we see in the clash between China and the United States, the impact of artificial intelligence, and the viral threats posed by new life forms. We have listed too much to assimilate today, so let's prioritize for Erica. Erica's confidence increased with every mile traveled on the way back to New York. I have everything under control, and I'll tell Terry when I get home. I'll be happy to see her, and she'll be happy to hear the news. Chapter February 6, 2227, The Road Warriors. Terry's imaginative storytelling rivaled Erica's, but with one difference. Terry delighted in sharing hers, but Erica was afraid to tell hers to anyone but herself. Nevertheless, she always loved hearing Terry's, the latest of which she spun after getting her first assignment from her new boss, Mrs. Walters. We're going to be a team of road warriors, traveling to record interviews I'll help edit into a montage, just like a movie producer does with scenes to segue to the message they want to get across. When do we start? Late February. We'll interview big-name universities, businesses, and recent graduates or new employees to uncover their concerns. And we'll travel to major cities as soon as Mrs. Walters tells her contacts to get ready. They'll have a crew and contacts lined up. All I have to do is book our flights and tell them when we'll arrive at their offices. Terry paused for the plural pronoun to register. You mean, I'm coming along? Sure. I'll simply tell everyone who asks that you're my assistant, helping with logistics and travel arrangements. After that, no one's going to look any further. My assertive personality will get us where we want to go, and your clever words will smooth over any rough edges I might leave in our wake. Erica's expression told Terry she liked what she was hearing. This'll keep me from getting bored, and I'll have no trouble handling my online class assignments. And remember, we travel light. Pack only 1 set of leisure and 2 sets of professional clothes. I'll buy whatever else we need and pick up the meal tabs. Isn't that a nice journalist job perk? Let me add one more. We don't have to make the beds or clean up any messes. And we should pack a pair of exercise shoes. Just check the fitness centers before you book us into the hotels. Terry's team worked their plan to perfection on the first trip. They warmed up in New York before traveling to Chicago. Erica's New York experiences researching and scripting made interviews and filming a breeze, and she found the iconic Lou Malnati's deep dish pizza, which the team liked as much as New York style. Ditto for Houston and its tacos al carbon at Ninfa's Tex-Mex chain, followed by an LA diner whose servers look like Hollywood stars. And finally, to San Francisco's Bubba Gump Shrimp Company restaurant on Pier 39, which is a short walk to Fisherman's Wharf. Erica forced Terry to join her every morning in the fitness center, which energized them for the day ahead and burned enough calories to keep ahead of the fun-filled dinners. Meanwhile, Terry used Erica to shield her from journalists hitting on her too often. Upon returning to home base, Erica concentrated on school while Terry edited all the way to the final cut, which a senior editor approved by the end of March. Terry knew the video would be a winner, but didn't advertise it. She waited for Mrs. Walters to summon her, which she did the 3rd week of April. Terry knew the drill by now and sat primly in front of the desk. Since you seem to sharpen your skills on every assignment, I shall give you an even more challenging one. I am moving you up to the political beat. Your next assignment is to assess the political ramifications of your previous one, and this time, you will not crisscross the country. You will start in Washington by interviewing selected members of Congress and the heads of national agencies. Then, you will compare what you find there with what the presidents of Ivy League universities and some of the consulting companies they spawn have to say. When will you give me my contact list and deadline? Mrs. Walters slid a packet of stapled papers across the desk before answering. I like your attitude. You'll find everything you need here. I think you'll find the end of May acceptable. Thank you for your confidence. I shall make it so. Terry's enthusiasm positively bubbled into her summary when talking with Erica that evening. We're moving into what people really want to listen to on the news. We're getting a chance to connect topics of interest to what leading politicians and government agencies in D.C. are saying. I follow that up by interviewing top Ivy League universities to find out what they're doing. All you have to do for the next assignment is link them to what we covered in the last one. Think you'll be ready by the end of May? Erica felt a heart thump that subsided before she replied. You know, I'm settling into the groove. I can balance it against online exam preparations, so please don't worry. And think about this, you can indirectly use your last name and Columbia credentials to get special treatment. I hadn't thought about that. We'll see if it works. The team's implementation of this assignment unfolded even more smoothly than the previous ones. Halfway through, when Terry said, "Practice makes perfect," Erica looked ready to put a different spin on the trope. No, it's perfect practice makes perfect. The role-playing we did made your questions flow so naturally that even the most devious politicos couldn't fake an answer, nor could the agency administrators hide the administration's actual intentions. And some of them said my father should be proud of my career. How about that? Don't forget to include your mother. I won't. You think we'll have as much success interviewing the universities? Why not? Just strike a thoughtful, philosophical tone and mention that you learned it at Columbia. And how nice we're starting in Boston. After that, the rest will be easier. Just build on what you do there. Erica's prediction came true. By the end of June, Terry had her next assignment, the details of which she shared early that evening. Mrs. Walters says the viewers like my fresh face and enthusiasm. They say I give clear explanations, and that's why our next assignment takes us to the intersection of DoD and government labs with Silicon Valley and weapons development. There's a lot of science and technology in it, and you'll have to summarize it for me and the viewers. Think you can handle that? Erica's heart kept thumping when she answered. Where will we go? And what's the deadline? We'll start at the Pentagon, then go to Los Alamos, and end up in Silicon Valley. I already have my contact list, so we can start once you've got my script. We've got until the end of August to make the final cut, so it's doable, isn't it? Let me think about it. Erica went to her workstation, hiding the rising panic from Terry, but she knew she needed help that only one entity could supply. Electra's avatar appeared moments later, waiting for Erica to unload her woe, and when Erica had nothing else to say, Electra looked happy to reply. Leave all the math and science to me. I've dealt with even harder issues several lifetimes ago. I'll brief you before your road trip begins and summarize what your contacts say. Then, all you have to do is wordsmith to satisfy Terry and the editors. Will be good if keep your laptop turned on so I can spy from the cyberspace shadows. Now, please calm down. Reading relief flooding through Erica's expression, Electra's avatar left the screen. Terry's mastery of basic science and technology impressed film crews and subject matter experts. She astutely segued from one interviewee to the next and connected the locations. And when ending the final cut, she added her personal thoughts. Modern technology today gives weapons that let mankind obliterate itself and all that previous civilizations we have created. I think we might gain a better appreciation of what's in store if we humans don't heed our better angels by reading Nuclear War: A Scenario by Pulitzer Prize winner Annie Jacobson. It graphically tells what would happen in a nuclear exchange between superpowers in the first 24 minutes, then the next 20 and 24 more, then the next 24 months and beyond, which is a grim outcome if governments are foolish enough to ignore the consequences. This is New York Times reporter Terry Torrance signing off. Mrs. Walters loved it all. Chapter October 7, 2227, Sex Comes Knocking. Terry and Erica settled so comfortably and inconspicuously into their technique for handling Terry's assignment lineup that no one at her office noticed anything other than the quality of her work and humility whenever receiving praise. Erica told none of her classmates about her extracurricular assignments, which meant she blended in like a normal college junior, except for one characteristic that had been building for the past year: her fascination with college guys. When it reached the point of near obsession, she knew she needed to talk with someone, so she took the mid-October Saturday early morning train to Washington, thinking all the way. Chicky told me a couple of years ago her hormones were ahead of mine. She's still ahead. After all, she's been a single mom for a year. But I'm catching up. I need her advice. Chicky and her mom greeted her at the front door. Erica hugged Chicky after admiring the one-year-old being held by Chicky's mom, and Chicky took her to the living room for a one-on-one talk, which Erica started. Your daughter looks happy, as does your mom, but you look tired. Does EXO help much? He gives me money when he can, but he stopped taking more mechanic cert courses once Sina was born. He says he can't pay me while paying for courses. Are you still taking classes at GWU? No. And as you can see, I don't have time for running track. But thanks to Ma, I'm taking courses at U of DC Community College and working part-time at the bookstore. That's me. But what about you? What's on your mind? Erica shifted uncomfortably for a moment before locking eyes. Sex. I can't stop thinking about guys I see at school. Anyone in particular / No, sometimes. All I want is to ride around in their cars with my skirt up and the windows down while screaming. Was it like that for you? Now you know what all the fuss is about. But you gotta be careful. Don't let it get out of control. You don't want to get knocked up for no good reason. What about now? Do you still want to have sex? Not many nice guys want to date single moms, so I don't get many offers, but that's okay. My sex drive's still there, but it's less than before. Having heard enough, Erica shifted to a tamer topic. Thanks for sharing. We've talked enough about sex, so why don't you and your mom show me what it's like taking care of Xena? That's a deal. Let's do it. Chicky's advice helped. Erica's focus on male classmates subsided, but not enough to keep her from initiating foreplay at a Halloween party. Only masks and another couple stumbling into the bedroom protected her identity. Contacting Electra the next evening, Erica spoke first. I've got a problem. I'm thinking too much about sex. I'm embarrassed to tell Terry, but I talked to a high school friend because we talked about sex way back then. Electra's expression matched her understanding tone. Please tell me what Chicky told you and what's happening now. Electra spoke again 15 minutes later. Sex is part of being human, just like eating and sleeping. It's always there and always will be until your hormones give out, which for you won't happen for a long time. So, don't feel embarrassed. Simply adjust your attitude. What about telling Terry? Do that when the time is right. But how will I know? You'll know. Just like you'll know when you find someone with all the right chemistry. It'll be like a lightning bolt or an emotional chain reaction. So, what should I do now? You want to keep sampling so you know what sex is like. Just keep it from hijacking your rational self into the danger zone. That will keep you safe. Electra's avatar vanished in the wink of her eye. Chapter December 8th, 2227. A Break to Remember. Both road warriors had all serious issues under control when Terry flipped the calendar to the last month of the year and explained what they needed to do. Mrs. Walters hasn't given me the details yet but says I better prepare for our first international assignment, which will have more risk than domestic ones, but should keep us out of danger zones. I'll start preparing by talking with sometimes foreign correspondents and then with Washington contacts who've become friends. What about you? I'll set up some meetings, but I hope I know the details before I visit some of mine. Until then, I'll prep for final exams with some classmates. Let me know when you've got the details. Did you pick smart ones? I'll let you know as soon as I get them. After that, we can decide what we'll do until we leave. Good. I hope we can take a break to remember friends and family. Me too. Erica preferred not to mention that her smart classmate meetings would be one-on-one with only guys. From her point of view, she had sex under control. There's no harm in flirting. Guys like the peek they get while I toy with them by writing some of their essays and promising them more if they meet my standards that I change to fit my mood, which they can never guess. Erica kept balancing toying and studying until Terry told her the details of the upcoming assignment. We'll leave early in January to interview young people in war-threatened Latvia, which is waging a mini proxy battle between Russia and Western Europe. If we can finish our preparation meetings before Christmas, we can visit my parents. I'll schedule mine for tomorrow, and we'll let you know when I'm set for our trip. And I'll set up more for me in DC when I finish what I've got going at the office. Good luck to both of us. Monet spoke first when she greeted Erica at her embassy office. Edward should speak first. He has the best point of view on how war damages youth. Edward spoke in his typical measured tone. We hate the invaders for robbing us of our present and future, and we hate our politicians for not taking action earlier to protect us. But most of us won't defend the homeland unless allies give us weapons and training. Without them, it's a lost cause. That's the universal cry. Monet added, and it becomes more complex in Europe. The Balkan states share ethnic minorities that often want to break away, and Russia considers the Baltic states a defensive buffer against the West. Unfortunately, Russia has taken an offensive posture for which France, Germany, and Austria still quarrel over containing an enemy that provides energy resources. But you can stay out of harm's way if you avoid visiting cities that are too close to the border. Zoom or Skype interviews will work almost as well, as will the videos that show population and infrastructure collateral damage. Would you two give me a list of questions to ask students and government officials? We'll do that until you feel you have enough. Terry looked pleased the next evening when she looked at the list. Wow, all you have to do is wordsmith them into a script. That settles it. We'll drive to my parents a few days before Christmas and return when we've had enough of a break. Terry's good intentions couldn't carry past Christmas Eve. Mrs. Tarrant became ill the next morning and insisted the girls spend the days between now and the upcoming trip in Manhattan. Erica told Terry the next day to call Ava. We had fun last New Year's Eve with Ava and Ivana at a dance club. Why not have a repeat? Let's find out what they say. They liked the idea, and this year they would go to a new club. Ava gave them the address, and after the call, Erica found its website. It looks nice and safe. Close enough too. We can take the subway. Erica didn't mention that dancing with young guys would be even better than chatting, but she couldn't hide her enthusiasm once the foursome settled at a table. She caught the eye of a guy who took her to the dance floor 15 minutes later and stayed at it for nearly 90 more. Ava cautioned her when she came back for a drink. We don't know any of the people. That's why the rest of us are watching instead of dancing, so be careful who you dance with. I will. There are lots of good-looking guys to choose from. When one of them came and took her away again, the remaining threesome continued conversing about the past and coming year. But Ivana did more Erica watching than talking. An hour later, Ivana strode alone onto the dance floor. The number of couples built as midnight approached, but she had more on her mind than wishing Happy New Year. When reaching a flushed-looking Erica, she tore her from the clutches of her older and sweaty partner before yelling, "You no good for my friend. Leave us." "What the? I oughta slug both of." Ivana's quick kick between the legs put him on the floor. Ivana pulled Erica back to the table as a sea of dancers' legs swallowed him. Ivana had to speak. Neither Ava nor Terry had seen the confrontation, and Erica was still too stunned. "Erica too man-hungry. I'd pull her away this time, but she better calm down before something really bad happened." No one spoke until Terry did, after glancing around the table. "Thank you for keeping her safe tonight. It's too late now, so let's go home, but I'll tell her tomorrow. I'm sure this break has been one for her to remember." Chapter January 9, 2228, Into the Danger Zones. Erica tried her best to look penitent for most of the New Year's Day morning lecture Terry gave, and her voice sounded that way when she finally had a chance to talk. "I learned last night that it's dangerous teasing guys I don't know very well. Their points of view differ from mine, and I don't want to cross into their danger zones." "Don't stop there. What about guys you do know pretty well?" "I guess I shouldn't tease them either. It makes me look like I'm too full of myself. That's why you should start practicing humility. You're the one who reminded me over a year ago about the 7 deadly sins and virtues. And you should pay attention to other danger zones." "Which ones?" "Look, I know you're smart, but you have to pay more attention to your surroundings. The adult world is dangerous. Just walking on a new street or entering a new place can be risky. And where we're going for our first European assignment is extra risky. Do you remember where we're going and how we'll get around? You said we'll fly to London and use Eurail to get to all the cities where the Times London office has set up our contacts. But why do we leave so late at night? Come on, start thinking, to compensate for the time zone difference. London is 5 hours ahead of New York. We should be tired and have no trouble sleeping on the plane by leaving late. Then we wake fresh and ready to start the day on London time, feeling less jet-lagged." Terry waited for Erica to comment, but she didn't, so Terry said more. "I've got a special assignment for you. Start researching the difference in attitudes between Europeans and Americans, comparing young and old. While you're doing that, I'll take care of tickets, papers, and logistics. We're leaving next week on Friday evening, which gives us 2 weeks to get them done, so we each have our marching orders until then. Okay?" Erica looked like she agreed when she said, "I promise to start thinking more." Erica enjoyed working on this assignment more than on those for school, and the longer she worked, the more she liked it, especially the summary sheet she had just printed. No matter the topic, this will make a useful framework when tabulating the information for each country subdivided into young and old. I don't need to do a statistical analysis. A qualitative, subjective analysis, from my point of view, will satisfy Terry's video viewers. Terry doesn't need to see this, but I'll use it to construct her interview script for her first assignment and then write her voiceover for the final cut. Hooray. Time to take a break. I've got an entire week to surf for more information on our first assignment's topic. Summary sheet for Europe. Europe is a collection of countries grouped into overlapping organizations. NATO North American Treaty Organization for Security, EU European Union for Monetary and Economic Consolidation. Geographic groupings. Balkans, Baltics, Scandinavia, countries of special importance. Russia, England, Germany, France. How to characterize a country's personality. Religion, philosophy, socio-political characteristics, type of government attitudes toward. Liberty, equality, capitalism, progress, integration, technology, climate change. Cultural characteristics. Institutions, arts. Comparisons to make. Between each country and the United States. Among each country. Young to old within the country and to the United States. Noticing Terry's focus on trip preparation, Erica kept to herself until departure day before asking about packing. Pack 2 suitcases this morning holding your necessities. I'll do the same and get them picked up at noon for delivery to JFK. The weather's good, So we'll take the subway tonight. It connects to AirTrain, which is the best way to get to the airport. And remember to carry only your purse where you'll keep your cell phone tickets and IDs. What time's our flight? It's British Airways leaving at 11:15 p.m. You can do the math to calculate arrival time. London is 5 hours ahead of New York, and the flight takes 7 hours. We'll have a light dinner here and hike to the subway at 8. We can relax once the courier picks up our luggage. Remember to give them your laptop too. The excitement of her first international trip kept Erica from relaxing as much as she would have liked, but she kept it under control. The walk to the subway and the train ride gave her things to focus on, but unfortunately, one of them was her bladder. She poked Terry as the train approached a station midway to JFK. "I'm sorry, but I can't hold it. I have to pee." "Okay, we'll get off and find someplace with a restroom." Leading them through a rundown neighborhood, Terry took them to a 24-hour liquor store. When the clerk pointed where to go, Erica handed her purse to Terry and hustled away. Terry browsed the nearby aisle, hefting a bottle or two. But when too many minutes elapsed, Terry knew she had better find out why. She didn't knock. She pushed into the restroom, and what she saw froze her. Erica was kneeling in front of a man with his pants half down while another pushed a gun to her head while shoving her head forward. Terry screamed, and her survival instincts took over when she bolted. She grabbed a bottle from the shelf and smashed it over the head of the guy still holding the gun, toppling him backward. Terry picked up the gun and charged into the bathroom. The guy still had his pants down and was punching Erica, but not for long. Bang, bang. Terry fired 2 bullets that jerked him off. Terry hauled Erica to her feet and shoved one purse into her hands before hissing, "Follow me." Terry put the gun in her purse before racing out the rear door with Erica right behind. Terry didn't speak again until they were on a deserted subway platform. "Are you hurt?" "No." "But what are we going to do?" "What do you suggest?" "Shouldn't we go to the police?" "And tell them what?" "In a perfect world, sure, but the world's not perfect. Look, no one knows who we are. I'll wipe any prints off the gun before I throw it where no one will find it, and then we'll board our flight." We tell no one what happened. Erica didn't have time to say anything. Their train arrived, and Terry pushed her on board. And as it pulled away, Erica had only one thought. "My heart's still pounding, but I'm beginning to settle down. Thank God and Terry. We're both okay. We're leaving the scene of one danger zone, but we're heading to another. After tonight, I know I must always pay attention." Chapter January 10th, 2228, Dodging Bullets and Beyond. The girls pretended that nothing unusual had happened while traveling to London. Since this would be the first time anyone in the London office met them, Terry's coordinator, Fraser Nelson, a seasoned Times BBC reporter, saw her as an enthusiastic young journalist worried about her first international assignment. He also liked the exterior, and after she introduced her assistant, Fraser gave her special treatment by explaining what to expect when covering the European beat. "Well, my dear, now I see why Mrs. Walters promoted you. An attractively packaged, youthful point of view will charm viewers of all persuasions. Thank you for the compliment, but she told me to be more than just a pretty face. That's why I want to get close to the action when interviewing people to experience what they are." "Isn't that what you do?" "Dodging bullets thrilled me in my younger days, but I don't move as fast now, so I am cautious. You're too young to heed my advice. All I will say is for you to be watchful. And now, to the particulars of your first assignment. Please tell me what you know about the political climate in Latvia." Terry held her own, thanks to Erica's research, and Fraser heard enough to conclude the meeting a half hour later. "You will rendezvous with your crew in Riga, the capital, and proceed from there. Please tell me all about your adventures when you return." "I will, and thank you for the briefing." Erica enjoyed their travel on Ural trains and buses to Riga after a 2-hour shuttle flight took them to Berlin. The 750-mile ride gave her 2 days to alternate between surfing for information and viewing the landscapes of Poland and Latvia. Latvia's forests, wetlands, and rivers told her the country has a temperate climate, and her surfing said Riga is a European cultural center built on centuries of the Baltic states' Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania interconnected heritage, but Poland struck her differently. The countryside looks homey, romantic, and desolate all at the same time. Some articles say the 20th and early 21st century wars destroyed much of Central and Eastern Europe. Nature reclaimed some of it, but climate change has reshaped it too. Terry listened to more of Erica's Latvian details. Half the 2 million population lives in Riga, which is on the western side near the Baltic Sea. The next largest city is Daugavpils, which has a little over 100,000 and is near the Russian border. And get this, Latvia has the highest female-to-male population in Europe. Not only that, but Latvian women are the tallest in Europe and dominate the modeling world. We'll have to ask Ivana about this when we get back. Not to be outdone, Terry fired back. Well, while you've been surfing and sightseeing, I've told the crew what I'd like, and here's what they've set up. We'll have a town hall meeting in Riga where I can use the script and questions you gave me. And a day later, they'll take us to a similar setup in Daugavpils, so we're copacetic. Let's take a break until we meet the crew. The meeting took place early the next evening in a government building auditorium, which was more than large enough to hold the 50 people on the contact list. After reciting from Erica's memorized script, Terry made a standard remark. Now, before I ask my questions, would anyone like to make a comment? Only one older gentleman did. I commend you for doing your homework. You understand more about our country than most reporters who come here. I would just add that our flag, which is crimson red with a white horizontal stripe across, shows my country's willingness to fight for freedom. I think young and old share it, though they may have different ways of doing so. After he sat, Terry continued. Thank you for adding that to what I know about your homeland. And now to my questions. After the meeting ended, Erica stayed in the background, letting audience members congratulate her partner while the crew packed up to take them back to the hotel. Once in the room, Erica offered her thoughts. You positively nailed the interview. If you do the same day after tomorrow, editing for the final cut will be a breeze. Thanks for letting me know. I can't judge myself. That's why I rely on you. And that's why we make a great team. Now, take a warm shower to help cycle down. Erica's prognosis proved true. The people in the audience and those who lived close to the border appreciated her concern for the country and her praise of their collective resolve to repel Russian incursions. And though no shells sailed overhead, she saw firsthand the damage done to homes and lives. Soon after, the crew took Terry and Erica to a chopper port that flew them to Riga, where they caught a flight back to London. They went directly from the airport to the Times office, where Fraser greeted them. Goodness, aren't you the energetic ones? Are you ready to dive into video editing? Shall I take you to our senior editor this minute, or would you prefer some lunch? Why not order something we can eat while working? Very well, I shall order fish and chips for you, the editor, and your assistant. And I recommend a fizzy soda to complement what we Brits call our thoroughly greasy, delectable, magical meal. Terry accepted his offer. Erica stayed in the background, enjoying lunch while observing the editor teach Terry even more. Terry knew when the editor gave the final cut his stamp of approval and sent it to Mrs. Walters that she would like it, but not how much. So she tried to calm herself before answering the call coming from the Manhattan home office 3 days later. Mrs. Walters' optimistic tone bolstered Terry's. You are sliding down the learning curve faster, and it's taking you beyond my expectations. Congratulations. That's high praise. I hope to continue earning it. You will, depending upon how well you handle the promotion. You are now our special projects reporter at large, working out of the London office and reporting to me. Fraser Nelson will coordinate your crews and contacts. The Times will pay for your short-term rental costs and will give you a satisfactory monthly meal allowance. Fraser will arrange for an apartment. What must I do? Prepare at least one 10 to 30-minute video a month on a European topic of your choosing. How do I find them? You seem more clever than most reporters. Use your imagination to come up with some, and then compare American to European views like you've been doing with your scripts and questions. And when will this start? Officially, February 1st. Use the time from now until that date to adjust to London and your new title. I have already informed Fraser, and I think you have everything you need from me, so please proceed. When Terry talked to Fraser immediately after the call, he promised to find an apartment suitable for her and her assistant, then told her to go home and relax until tomorrow. She took his advice and shared the news with Erica when she reached the hotel. She wrapped up by saying, I'm so wound up I can barely see straight. What can I do to calm down? We can meditate by walking on nearby streets, and we can. Terry slapped her forehead one time before interrupting. Geez Louise, I'm sorry. Will staying with me be okay? I'll need your help more than ever developing topics, scripts, and question lists. Sure. Remember, we're more than partners. I'm sorry I interrupted. What were you going to say? Take a walk right now. Terry was happy to let Erica lead the way. Chapter February 11, 2228. Getting to Denmark. Erica knew how to proceed when Terry asked what getting to Denmark meant. The phrase is a socio-political term that originated over 100 years ago and became widely publicized in 3 books written by historian Francis Fukuyama: Political Order and Political Decay, The Origins of Political Order, and The End of History and the Last Man. He conjectures that all societies will become a capitalistic liberal democracy, but socio-political events in the last 150 years show the contrary. Glance through this handout and let me know when I should continue. Erica gave her the handout and waited. Facts about Denmark. The Danes, originally from Germany, settled in Denmark. The name means Danes on the march, and they built a farming, fishing, and seafaring culture with its own language, Danish. Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and Finland comprise Scandinavia. Copenhagen, the capital, is on the eastern edge across from Sweden. Denmark is surrounded by water and controls Greenland. Denmark is approximately twice the size of Massachusetts. Denmark's population is 6 million. 700,000 live in Copenhagen. Capital's population density is 18,000 per square mile, 2/3 that of New York City. Denmark's density is 361 per square mile. Denmark is noted for good political and economic institutions. It is stable, democratic, peaceful, prosperous, inclusive, and has extremely low levels of political corruption. The politics of Denmark takes place within the framework of a parliamentary representative democracy, a constitutional monarchy, and a decentralized unitary state in which the monarch of Denmark is the head of state. What does getting to Denmark mean? Denmark might be a better model that developing countries can use to join the postmodern world. Better means than the United States or China. 72% of Denmark's population belongs to the Evangelical Lutheran Church, but less than a fifth consider themselves very religious. Martin Luther, 1483 to 1546, a German monk and university professor, started the Reformation, which criticized the Catholic Church, when he posted his 95 Theses on the door of the Castle Church in Wittenberg. Hans Tausen, 1494 to 1561, a former monk who had been a student of Luther's in Wittenberg, brought Lutheranism to Denmark. Sociologists credit Denmark's brand of Lutheranism for building its better model. Erica continued when Terry nodded 10 minutes later. Here's the problem with Fukuyama's idea. A liberal democracy requires 3 conditions: a stable state, rule of law, and accountability for the 3 branches of government, which are the executive, legislative, and judicial. They might not be achievable in many parts of the world, but even if they are, Denmark might be a better model. Erica paused for Terry to ponder her words. Terry spoke a minute later. I see where you're taking this. We can hold a town hall meeting in Copenhagen to make a video that shows me asking citizens what should be done to defend democracy against the accelerating rise of tyranny and authoritarianism. It'll be a video everyone will want to watch. I'm going to tell Fraser right now. Good. And while you're doing that, I'll work on my online courses. Let me know what the next step is. Terry came back 2 hours later. Fraser says it's a go. He'll arrange a crew and audience for one town hall meeting in Copenhagen at 8 p.m. on Wednesday, February 20th. That gives you 2 weeks to prepare the script and questions. And he says not to worry. He'll give us everything we need, so getting to and from Denmark will be fun and safe. I'll be ready. In fact, I'll make you even more than ready by adding some icebreakers you can use to build audience rapport before launching into the script and questions. You'll have them the day before we leave. Thanks to practicing with Erica, Terry built empathy with the audience by needing no teleprompter, and they liked her spontaneous delivery when she started the meeting. I have researched enough to know why getting to Denmark is a route many developing countries want to take. After all, this small country is the home of many great people. Hans Christian Andersen wrote fairy tales that are known around the world. You can even see a statue in the harbor of his most famous, The Little Mermaid. We also have Nobel Prize-winning physicist Niels Bohr, and Carl Nielsen, a great 20th century symphonic composer. And now, let me outline what my interview questions will entail. Terry asked for comments 5 minutes later. A young woman made the first. Unlike America's male-oriented gender bias, Denmark's high level of male-female equality fosters behavior that transcends the gender barriers set by less egalitarian societies. As a feminine culture, Danes have more flexible gender roles, which allows them to be more relaxed when considering romantic relationships. The absence of pressure to fulfill certain gender-based stereotypes fosters a liberal attitude towards sex, dating, and marriage. I expect you will detect this when you compare our answers to those you would get in America. A young man made the second. Our culture not only talks about sex, but also watches porn movies. Denmark's flexible gender roles allow for a wider acceptance of sexual experimentation. In fact, we were the first country to establish the right for same-sex couples to have registered partnerships. Thank you both for telling me some reasons why I might find differences when making comparisons. And now, to my questions. After the presentation ended, Erica took her position by staying in the background, letting audience members congratulate Terry while the crew packed up to take them back to the hotel. Once in the room, Erica offered her assessment. Your interviewing skills get better each time, which makes Final Cut editing easier and easier. And while we're in Copenhagen, I have an idea for another town hall topic. Would you like to hear what it is, or would you like more time to decompress? Please tell me now. I came across an organization called the Consensus for Climate Change that's based at the University of Copenhagen. It's run by a leading climatologist named Bo Lundberg. Why not use your New York Times status to set up a meeting where you can describe the video you want to make, spotlighting the impact of climate change on Scandinavia and what his organization is doing to help the world deal with it? That's a great idea. You think I should run it past Fraser? No, just tell him you're working on another when you send him the final cut of the interview you just completed. Okay, then what? I'll write your script and question list. Bo and his assistant will take us on a chopper tour to see firsthand what's going on. And it should include Norway's global seed vault, housed in a sandstone mountain on Norway's Spitsbergen Island. It stores seeds from plants worldwide to provide security for food supply and ecosystems. There's even a backup vault, the Nordic Gene Bank, housed in an abandoned coal mine. You can impress him by describing what you now know about Denmark and the seed banks, but let him tell you the details. Instead of calling, why don't we go visit the university tomorrow? Good idea. Now, let's rest for tomorrow. While Erica and Terry were making their meeting plans, Indira was already listening to Electra. I'm pleased to report that Erica continues to mature physically, emotionally, and cognitively. She has done this with Marilyn Tarrant's help and my guidance. I am monitoring her latest international adventures, from which I will guide her to additional projects that fit with yours. When will she be ready to learn more about her extraordinary legacy? That will depend on her continued progress that I am monitoring. Excellent. Please proceed, as will I. Indira's avatar left the screen. Chapter March 12, 2228, The Doomsday Vaults. While Terry talked with Bo on the charter flight to the seed vault, Erica listened to his assistant, Kyler Pedersen, describe the terrain. Spitsbergen Island is 1550 miles from Copenhagen and only 500 miles from the North Pole. And we'll tell the pilot to fly along a fjord so you can see what passengers on the cruise ship see. Erica took in every word, which she compared with the view 30 minutes later. Norway's magnificent fjords penetrate miles and miles inland along steep cliffs. No wonder fjord cruises are world-renowned, but becoming increasingly restricted. Norway is the most eco-focused country in Scandinavia, and unlike Alaskan cruises, which feature wildlife and glaciers, the ones here emphasize the gorgeous panoramic landscape. How lucky for me. Sightseeing is a wonderful fringe benefit, as is meeting Kyler. How different he is from most of the males Terry and I encounter back home. His Norwegian personality is refreshingly open and respectful of females. His Scandinavian features make him good-looking too. Maybe we can do more than sightsee when we get back to Copenhagen. Erica followed behind Terry and Kyler while a security guard took Bo and his retinue into the seed vault. Erica absorbed every word Bo spoke. This vault has storage capacity to last 300 years, and we can tunnel deeper when more space is required. We chose the location so the vault will be above sea level even if all glaciers and ice sheets melt, and it is below the permafrost line, which maintains a below freezing temperature. That reduces the energy load for the cryogenic storage units. We also control the humidity, which is critical for preserving seeds. We have repurposed our seed vault several times since it opened in 2008. Today, it is much more than an international cryogenic safe deposit box. We test all samples when storing them, and we do research that we share with all nations storing samples. Other nations have seed vaults, like the one in Fort Collins, Colorado, but it, like many others, do research for food companies that develop genetically modified organisms. Bo stopped to ask for questions after the guard took them to a lower level. Erica waited until none came from anyone else. Do you store any animal DNA or reproductive cells? Excellent question. No, we don't, but Fort Collins does for important livestock animals. But we store the greatest breadth and depth of plant species in case climate change destroys too much of the world's ecology. Will that answer satisfy you? I guess so, but your vault is for a worst-case scenario. I might call it a doomsday vault. You are very incisive. Some videos give it the same label, but I prefer to be less gloomy. Well now, let's proceed to our testing and research center. The four boarded the charter plane 4 hours later for the 4-hour flight back to Copenhagen. Bo, Kyler, and Terry used half the time to plan for another town hall meeting and would reconvene tomorrow morning to begin implementation. Meanwhile, Erica decompressed while listening to herself. I now know enough to write a dandy interview script, question list, and first draft of Terry's voiceover. If I meditate until we land, I might be fresh enough to start tonight and continue tomorrow. And I'll make sure to save some time for Kyler. But a surprise greeted Erica when she logged in soon after midnight. Electra's always pert-looking avatar appeared. How nice that you were so alert and proactive during the Seed Vault tour. Your climate change town hall meeting should unfold nicely, but I have a suggestion for what you might like to add when wrapping up the voiceover. What do you think that might be? Can you give me a clue? I'll give you the big one, Doomsday Vault, which you figured out on the tour before anyone else. Now, connect it to animals. Erica puzzled the clues for over a minute when a flash of insight burst. I think I see the connection. There might not be a vault for storing animal DNA or reproductive cells collected from around the globe. Maybe each major country has its own and jealously guards it. Is that it? You're partway there. There are only 2 WHO-designated sites for storing dangerous bacteria and viruses: America's Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta and Russia's Center for Research on Virology and Biotechnology in Kosovo, which don't cooperate. And given the troubled state of international politics, other adversarial nations have their own. You should call them doomsday vaults. Electra waited for Erica to add more. And how about this? We could have a vault for extinct species and one for emerging life forms. The possibilities for progress and regress are immense. Excellent. You don't need to give all the ominous implications, but listeners might like a subtle warning you can place at the end of the voiceover. When should I share this with Terry? Only when you give her your final voiceover for the final cut. Now, do some surfing to confirm the facts I've given you. Then rest for tomorrow so you're ready to go. And by the way, I think you and Kyler might enjoy some time together after work. Just use your common sense. And I'm ready to go too, so stay healthy and safe. Electra's avatar departed. The rest of Erica's stay in Copenhagen seemed almost like a vacation. Working with Terry was now second nature, and time with Kyler was her best opposite-sex experience ever. When returning to the London office a week later, Erica knew what to say when Terry asked her to help edit the video. I've already been working on it in my head. And I think you'll like the voiceover for the final cut. Pay special attention to your closing remarks. Thanks. And if that's the case, Spencer and Mrs. Walters will love it. Who knows? Maybe it'll get us another promotion or travel assignment. But no matter what, our teamwork will make the best of whatever comes our way. Chapter April 13, 2228. An unexpected trip. Razor's emphatic tone accented the words he was speaking to Terry at the London office. No doubt about it. You've got the knack for picking topics and making town hall videos audiences everywhere love. That's why your next trip will be to Paris. When do we leave? And what are the details? The last week of April, which gives you 3 weeks to prepare. The Times will collaborate with Le Monde, France's leading evening newspaper. It's academic, Left-of-center point of view fits perfectly with ours. Terry looked like she had more questions. Le Monde means the world, doesn't it? And you'll coordinate the crew, location, and audience size? Don't fret about that. You can handle whatever Le Monde comes up with. Keep doing the scripting, questioning, final cut video editing, and voiceover. I can't think of anything else you need to know for the time being, so please carry on. Terry emailed the facts to Erica, who was working at the apartment. Her reply said she'd begin working immediately. Terry's excitement wouldn't fit in the kitchen, so she took Erica to a quiet local pub to discuss the assignment. Erica spoke as soon as they were sitting in a cozy booth. I've begun surfing for info about France that I'll put at the start of your script, so you can show you've done your homework. We'll say that France should be fiercely proud of its continental philosophical, political, and literary accomplishments. And we can summarize the country's political framework, which is a parliamentary government composed of two chambers. The upper Senate has 349 members, and the lower National Assembly has 577 coming from the nation's geographic districts. And I can add to that. France and Germany are the leading European nations. But what topics should we cover? Let's cover two that are interrelated and compare what people in France say with those in the United States, focusing on democracy, economics, immigration, and concern about genetically modified organisms. You got it all scoped out, but I can add a segue at the start that'll take us to the serious stuff. France is the world's culinary leader for cheese, croissants, and wine. Erica warmed to the wordplay. And if we sample them when we get there, that'll add to our travel fringe benefits. The duo made rapid progress by working independently during the day and collaborating at the apartment during the evening. Erica had just shown the latest draft of the script when Terry's cell phone rang. She stood from the couch and stretched her arms overhead before answering. This is Terry Tarrant. Who? What? Terry dropped the phone before collapsing onto the couch, unable to speak. Erica grabbed it and spoke. Hello, I'm Erica Kincaid, Terry's roommate. She just collapsed. What did you say to her? This is the District of Columbia Medical Examiner's office calling to inform Ms. Tarrant that her parents died in an automobile accident yesterday. She is the only living relative we could locate, and she must make a funeral or other arrangement to dispose of the corpses. Hello, are you still there? Erica spoke as soon as the shock subsided. Yes. Would you please give me your name and phone number so we can call back once we know what Terry wants to do? After jotting the information and ending the call, Erica ran to the bathroom to get a washcloth and towel. Terry had just lost her lunch and dinner. Terry finally spoke after Erica tidied her up. Did you hear that? It's, Erica shook her by the shoulders to help her focus. It's terrible news, but we have to deal with it, think. What do you want to do? I don't know. I thought they'd live forever, that they'd always be around. Terry ran out of words, so Erica took charge. Okay, let's get you lying down. I'll figure out what we should do. After helping Terry into bed, Erica took the only action she could think of. Electra's avatar appeared minutes later, wearing a serious expression and waiting for Erica to speak. Terry and I have a big problem. Her parents died in a DC auto accident yesterday. She doesn't know what to do, and I don't know either. Will you help us? Electra's tone and expression showed infinite empathy. Yes, I have dealt with these tragedies in previous lifetimes. Here are the steps I will coordinate. From what I already know, Mr. Tarrant had an important position in Washington. I will contact his office to follow up with his lawyer, who should know about a will, financial status, etc. How will you do that? Please trust me. I have contacts too. Invoke me tomorrow evening, and I will tell you what to do. And first thing tomorrow morning, tell Fraser about Terry's tragedy. You and Terry will need to make an unexpected trip to DC. After Electra's avatar vanished, Erica pondered the enormity of what she and Terry faced. Electra set plans in motion by contacting Indira. The whirlwind subsided by the time the girls caught a Saturday flight to Washington. Erica used the first couple of hours on the flight to brief Terry. According to your father's lawyer, you are your parents' closest living relative. Your grandparents died years ago, and you have no aunts or uncles. Do you know of any others? There are none. What else did you find out? Your parents died intestate, which means they do not have a will, so all their assets have to go through probate. Did you know your parents were over $2 million in debt? Your dad even took out a second mortgage on the house to pay for your mother's cancer treatments that weren't covered by healthcare. They never told me about any of this, and I was too self-centered to ask. Terry stopped talking to wipe away tears, so Erica filled the silence. Did you bring a set of keys to your parents' house? We can stay there if you did. Terry looked in her purse before nodding yes. Good. It'll be our base of operations. I've arranged for a closed casket service at a funeral parlor in Chevy Chase. It will make all arrangements for posting an obituary in newspapers, and then placing ashes a couple of days afterward in the burial vault your parents have. Stopping when she saw Terry's emotions carrying her away, Erica hugged her, and then each withdrew into their separate spaces for the remainder of the flight. Erica's thoughtful preparations helped keep Terry's emotions in check during the wake and ecumenical service. Afterward, she did some of the talking at a restaurant where Erica treated them to an early dinner. I never realized my father had so many powerful friends. Several of them told me I was fortunate to have such kind and loving parents. I hate myself for never telling them how much they meant to me, and now I never can. I'm now on my own. Terry paused to calm her emotions before continuing. You're lucky. Your parents are still alive. Why won't you introduce me to them? After all, we're like sisters. They're gone most of the time, and you're not alone. We have each other. Listen to the song Part of Me, Part of You to understand why. Okay, but I still hate myself. Don't. Parents don't expect children to dote on them until much later in life. If you could talk to your mother, she would tell you to remember only once in a while all the good they did for you as you make the most of your life. Erica could see Terry's resolve rise to the occasion. Then we better fly back to London. When do we leave? Our return flight has an open date. I'll schedule it for the first Friday in May. That'll give you enough time to talk with the lawyer and close up the house while I get the Paris town hall script stuff finished. Okay, let's do it. That'll get me moving again. Erica checked her packing late in the afternoon on the departure date before checking in with Electra, whose pert expression appeared on her laptop as she spoke. You have helped your kindred sister regain her footing, which also helps you. What else have you learned on this trip? Erica had to think for a minute before answering. That close friends might become family, and young people won't understand the point of life until they're much older. How insightful you have become. Here is a poem called To the Point I heard several lifetimes ago that expresses the same sentiments. It's taken years to understand. The focal point of life. But now I see its majesty. No more internal strife. When young we think that all is ours. The world revolves round us. And when our whims aren't fully met, we make a terrible fuss. But look beyond your selfish self, for a selfless path, that's right. Reach out to those with heavy needs, help make their burden light. Now get to the airport for your return flight. That will get both of you back in action. Erica followed Electra's command. Chapter May 14, 2228, Back in Action. Fraser seemed as pleased as Erica that Terry had regained her step, although she hid her feelings at his meeting the Monday they returned. Of course, you have our condolences, but keeping busy is perhaps the best way to deal with grief. I have rescheduled the Paris trip for the first week of June. You should have plenty of time to prepare a video or two that will air in July. All other details remain the same. If you can, connect your topics to France's major July holiday, Bastille Day, held on July 14th. So, unless you have questions, we shall adjourn the meeting. Letting Terry reacquaint herself with work at the office, Erica left for their apartment. Once there, she logged on to review what she had already prepared. I've made all the changes I need for video number 1. I can rehearse Terry as soon as she's ready. And until then, I'll start thinking about topics for the second one until we leave for Paris. Once there, I'll do my own daytime sightseeing to trigger the details. Several days later, the duo departed for Paris. Upon arrival, they went to the Paris office of the Times for Terry to meet her crew and its coordinator, who would make all arrangements with the French newspaper Le Monde. Erica saw enough to realize there was little she could do until Terry was ready to practice rehearsing for video number 1, so she told Terry before returning to the hotel. Erica played the role of a typical tourist for the next several mornings by taking bus tours to the most popular attractions. She started with the Eiffel Tower, then the Louvre Art Museum, and followed that with Notre Dame Cathedral, which is on an island in the center of the city. She enjoyed listening to the guides, who answered an array of questions they must have heard thousands of times. She summarized some of the answers to herself. Paris has been called the City of Lights ever since becoming the first European city to illuminate its streets with gas lighting. The Louvre Palace houses the Louvre National Art. Built in the late 13th century, it was originally a fortress, but as the city grew, it could no longer fulfill its defensive function. In the mid-16th century, it became the residence of kings until Louis XIV, known as the Sun King, moved in 1682 to the Palace of Versailles. After that, it became a place to display the royal collection of art, and in 1692, the Royal Academy of Painting and Sculpture moved in. The Art Museum opened in 1793 with an exhibition of nearly 500 paintings owned by previous kings or confiscated from the church. And ever since, its collection has grown steadily despite the trials and tribulations of world politics. Erica ended her third day of touring by visiting the world-famous shopping district on the Champs-Élysées Boulevard, which in Greek mythology means the Field of Paradise. It connects the Arc de Triomphe with the historic public square, Place de la Concorde, the execution site during the French Revolution. The tours accomplished what Erica needed. She now knew the topic of the second video and wrote up the script, questions, and voiceover, but she wouldn't share them until Terry sent the final cut of the first video to Fraser and Mrs. Walters. Feeling so good about the final cut, Terry asked Erica to plan a few sightseeing days. She found a no-waiting special group tour that would take a 30-minute train ride to the Palace and Gardens of Versailles for day 1. Then for day 2, a walking tour of the most famous Parisian art community. Montmartre, perched atop a small hill in the 18th arrondissement, the French word for administrative district which, according to the guide, has lost none of its village atmosphere that attracted so many artists of the 19th and 20th centuries. Erica steered them from the crowded cafes to street vendors selling macarons served with coffee or wine, and she bought 2 each, filled with chocolate, pistachio, or banana. Terry sounded happily relaxed at a cafe near the hotel Erica chose for dinner that evening. You really showed me France's rich history. You think we can find a topic to connect with it? That's the plan. We'll outline French and American artistic cultures, focusing on painting, literature, and film, and then we'll ask the audience to compare them. Are the gaps narrowing? And what about when comparing to emerging third world art? How will you summarize all that so it fits in the script? I've scoped it out this way. France is the guardian of tradition, the artistic aristocrat. Its centuries-old heritage is full of elegance and sophistication. The United States is the land of reinvention, the energetic innovator, known for its can-do spirit, a place that nurtures dreams and ambitions. The French character seeks balance in life. It values leisure, work-life harmony, and extended vacations. The art of relaxation is foremost in the café culture along the Seine, where Parisians savor the moments. The American character relentlessly pursues success. It's a place that celebrates hard work, and ambition fuels the journey. The American dream is the hero's path, marked by a relentless pursuit of goals. How do you like that? Maybe we can start by saying France and the US have emerged as 2 distinct and wonderful countries having much to offer, and their differences make the world a more colorful and diverse place to explore. Then you can wordsmith what you just said into a segue for the questions. I'll give you the script and questions the day after tomorrow. Then you can practice with the crew while I work on the voiceover. Let's do it. At this rate, we can send the final cut to Fraser and Mrs. Walther in time for a London flight by the end of the month. And they did. Terry asked the rhetorical question Erica expected on the ride to the airport. So, what should we pick for the next topic? Let's go with what you already mentioned. I forgot what I said. Please tell me. France and Germany are the leading European countries. So, I'll find a topic if you set up a trip to Germany. And how about running the meeting in its capital, Berlin? That's the best choice. Do you want to talk about it on the flight? Not unless I feel better. The crush of people at the airport unsettled Erica's stomach. She pulled Terry to a halt when she spied what she needed. I have to go to the bathroom. You keep going. I'll meet you at the gate. Erica waited for several waves of diarrhea to come and go, then washed her hands and face before heading to the gate. Once there, she sat next to Terry and stared around the lounge area while Terry read a magazine. But she panicked when the first boarding call sounded. Oh my God. I left my ticket in the restroom. You board, and I'll catch up. Erica dashed to the restroom, accompanied by Good Luck. The attendant had found it, She pulled some dollar bills out of her purse and said merci while exchanging them for her ticket, then raced back in time to make the last boarding call. Erica tried to settle down when the flight reached cruising altitude, but not even meditation helped. Terry spotted her discomfort. "What's wrong?" "My heart's pounding like it's about to come out of my chest." "You better." Erica collapsed forward before she could say more. Terry pushed the call attendant button while screaming, "Help! I've got a medical emergency." 2 flight attendants and a doctor on the flight came to her aid. They stretched Erica flat in the aisle, then gave her oxygen while monitoring her blood pressure and pulse. Electra stirred 5 minutes later, and they helped her buckle in. "We'll have a medical technician waiting at the gate. Have your friend drink water, and push the button again if you need further assistance." "I will. Thanks for all you've done." Erica's sense of humor came to life when the technician came to wheel her off the plane. "This is the best excuse ever for being first off the plane." Terry smiled for the first time since the flight began. Chapter July 15, 2228 Ominous Warnings from the Fatherland. As soon as they landed, Terry took Erica to the A&E, the Accident and Emergency Center, which is London's version of America's or closest to their apartment. 3 hours later, they sat as the attending physician explained his diagnosis. "I found nothing to suggest a serious heart condition, but it's possible her heart murmur might exacerbate an arterial blockage. Have a cardiologist do additional testing when she returns to the United States." Erica felt good enough to speak for herself. "So, can I get back to work tomorrow?" "Yes, but resume action gradually and take aspirin twice a day." Terry had heard enough. "Thank you for your help. I'll pay with my credit card." Erica said more when they were in the apartment. "Don't tell anyone at the Times. I don't work for them, and as long as you keep churning out the videos, they don't care what I do." "Okay, tomorrow I'll tell Fraser you're doing some research for me on my next assignment, which will be a town hall meeting in Berlin. That'll keep him happy, but will you be okay working here?" "Sure, I enjoy working independently. The pressure's off, and I can take a break from surfing whenever I want. You can organize for Berlin while I find a topic. You look tired. Let's go to bed." In the days that followed, Erica dug into Germany's legacy, which she summarized to herself. Germany has fully emerged from behind the cloud of World War II and last century's Russian confrontations to become Europe's economic and technological powerhouse, building on its unparalleled metaphysicians, starting with Kant, progressing through Hegel, Husserl, and Heidegger, and culminating in Schopenhauer, Nietzsche, and Freud. It also has great classical and romantic composers. This combination alone makes Germany a country the world looks up to. Erica took the weekend off before delving into the country's political views, which she summarized 3 days later. Germany's energy policy is detrimental to nuclear and green energy because of its inefficient bureaucracy. How odd for a country whose expertise and efficiency make its businesses run like a digital clock. Its government is a staunch defender of democracy and rightfully distrusts Russia because of centuries-long conflict. But unlike America, it has more faith in China. Germany is its biggest supplier. I must research another piece to the topic, but not now. I need a break. Noticing that Erica looked tired, Terry asked a delicate question when she came home that evening. "I'm ready whenever you are to rehearse for our trip." "When will you have the script and questions ready?" "By Wednesday, if that's okay." "That should be fine. I won't bother you this weekend. We can leave for Berlin sometime the week after next, and we won't do any sightseeing until after we complete the first video's final cut." Erica started researching the last piece on Monday, Germany's technological intentions. By Wednesday, she had assembled the facts she would present to Terry that evening. Terry sat transfixed by every word she said. "I've already mentioned that Germany is focusing on economic growth, building out its infrastructure to collect big data, and pushing the envelope for AI development. However, it also wants to warn the world about risks similar to those in World War II when Germany developed rockets and learned how to split the atom. Nevertheless, the government wants to become a global leader in artificial intelligence and is funding a national AI strategy implementation. But many countries have the same goal. What's different here? Do you remember the blockbuster movie, The Terminator? It spawned a number of dystopian stories about a future world run by AI machines bent on exterminating humans. Germany worries the world is rushing into an accelerating AI arms race that holds risks far beyond those of drones or smart missiles. Super and smaller powers alike are already putting AI-empowered control software in their nuclear arsenals without knowing how the apps or failsafe systems will react if someone pushes the wrong button. Erica paused for Terry, whose grimace said a lot. Did you find anything good to say? It gets even worse. AI developers don't know what sort of ethics the control software has, and it can already make the kill decision, which takes humans out of the loop. So, what will you script for me to start the meeting? Here's the outline. I'll compliment Germany for its outstanding heritage and current position on the world stage. Then I'll outline major current economic, political, and technological issues and write what I think the positions of the US and German governments are. Then, you ask the questions to get the audience's comparisons. And then, Terry's frustration showed when she interrupted. What about all that dystopian AI stuff? I'll tone it down so you can wrap up with a mild warning about pushing AI too fast. Okay. I don't want to think about this anymore until we get to Berlin. Maybe my optimism will show up. Terry's optimism returned as soon as she met her coordinator, who greeted her upon entering the offices of the Berliner Zeitung newspaper, Germany's equivalent of the Washington Post. His efficiency exceeded what she had experienced on all other trips and had her rehearsing with a video crew that afternoon. Erica stayed long enough to realize Terry didn't need her help, so she walked to the hotel, enjoying the local scene. Clean streets, orderly Berliners walking about, and smooth-flowing trams and double-decker buses make the city look better than most capitals. The electric scooters and rent-a-bikes add to the modern feel. Maybe some sightseeing will stimulate topics for another video. When Terry sent the final cut of video number 1 to Fraser and Mrs. Walther during the last week of July, Erica didn't have a second video topic, so she asked Terry for help. Ask your coordinator for some sightseeing places that connect with modern technological stuff, like power plants, air bases, and military installations. That would make for a good video topic. We can rent a car and visit them along with the typical sightseeing places too. Couldn't that be risky? That's why we'll ask your coordinator. He'll know the interesting but safe places to visit. This has possibilities. I'm told that Germans drive aggressively, but at least they drive on the right. So how about I drive and you navigate? That's another way we make a great team. And in addition to keeping track of where we are, I'll get what we need to keep us safe. I learned that from you. Well, if you learned it from me, I guess it works. We're still moving. And between the two of us, we'll keep it that way. Chapter August 16, 22-28. The Escape of the Transcendental Spies. Erica picked several traditional Berlin tourist attractions in Berlin to practice their driving and navigating coordination. The Berlin Wall and Checkpoint Charlie Memorial made a good start, followed by a visit to the Market Hall 9 for a selection of German food and beer. The next day included the Brandenburg Gate and the iconic Berlin TV Tower, which made an appropriate segue to high-tech sites outside of Berlin. Erica added one of her own, visiting an automated dike system for flood control along the Rhine. Getting there required driving on Germany's storied autobahns, which have no speed limits, only recommendations. Other than when on the autobahns, they kept a leisurely pace, which allowed for occasional stops at quaint towns. But at the end of a week, Erica still had nothing specific for building a script and told Terry they should change their plans. I think we should visit another country. Maybe Italy or Spain will spark a video topic. We should head back to our Berlin hotel and make plans to fly back to London this weekend. Fraser should be happy to see us because you told me he loves our latest video. Okay, we'll fly back Sunday evening. What do you want to do before then? Send our luggage ahead and then drive around so we get to the Brandenburg airport in time for our flight. Not a problem. Before making a prediction, Terry glanced through the windshield after she and Erica dashed to their rental car parked in their hotel's parking lot. I'm glad we did all our outdoor sightseeing when the sun shone. This evening's rain would spoil any we'd want to do on the drive to the airport, but it shouldn't make the drive too dangerous if lights stay on and drivers use a lighter foot on the pedal. It won't bother me either. Weather doesn't interfere with my cell phone's GPS location tracking unless it knocks down too many cell towers, and I don't think that's in the forecast. As Terry pulled out of the parking lot and followed directions, Erica listened to Terry's rambling comments but couldn't comment. Cell phone tracking needed her undivided attention. I've been thinking, maybe you should work for the Times. Maybe we should live permanently in London. Maybe we should hold biotech town halls. Maybe we should set up trips to Zimbabwe and India. If analysts are right and they merge into the next superpower, we can scoop the competition. I'll run that one past Fraser when we get to home base. According to Erica's tracking, she could see 2 dots on her cell phone, one moving, showing their car cruising on Autobahn A113 toward a stationary one representing Brandenburg Airport, which is 15 miles south of Berlin's center. She was about to tell Terry they would arrive in about 15 minutes when suddenly, her cell screen refreshed, now showing a second moving dot, and before she could push any button, a text message appeared. Electra says bad guys closing in. Do you copy? Over. Stunned, Erica could do nothing but text back. I copy. Now what? Over. Follow my commands and don't ask questions. Over. Copy that. Over. Terry didn't question directions for exiting A113 until Erica told her to park in a convenience store parking lot. But another message told her what to say. I want to get a candy bar. I'll be back in a jiff. Erica grabbed her purse and dodged raindrops before running into the store and waiting for additional commands. When the moving stopped next to Terry's car, another message came. Be ready to use what's in your purse and do what I command. Over. Roger that. Over. Electra sent enough information in the next 5 minutes for Erica to follow Electra's action plan when the go command came. Roger that. Over. Clutching her purse, Erica raced through the rain and darkness to the bad guy's car, a police car with lights blazing. She pulled a gun and bang blasted 2 bullets into the driver's side door window. The guy at the wheel gaped. So did the guy in the back seat who was interrogating Terry. Erica screamed instructions. Both of you, drop your weapons slowly, get out of the car, and walk away. When the guy in back made too sudden a move, Erica put a bullet in his kneecap before giving another set of commands. Terry, grab his gun, push him out, and get your purse before getting behind the wheel. The guy in the front will be gone when you get back. 2 minutes later, Erica yelled another command while sitting next to Terry. Follow my directions and drive like hell. Terry didn't have time to say anything. Keeping the car from skidding took all her concentration, as did Erica's for reading GPS tracking and Electra's text messages. There was now one moving, and one stationary. As they're moved toward the stationary one, Erica knew it must be a safe haven but said nothing. And when a second moving appeared, Erica yelled directions meant to keep them away from the pursuing, telling Terry to speed up as the distance between kept shrinking. Erica felt like a surreal video game player who had to get to the destination before the pursuing crashed into hers. The swerving and turning became fast and furious as the 3 dots came together. Erica's last command came just in time. Blast through the gate. Terry did and then slammed on the brakes just in time to keep from ramming into a guardhouse sign that read, United States Embassy. 2 men with guns drawn came running. Erica knew what to say. Chapter August 16, 2228. The Escape of the Transcendental Spies. Erica picked several traditional Berlin tourist attractions in Berlin to practice their driving and navigating coordination. The Berlin Wall and Checkpoint Charlie Memorial made a good start, followed by a visit to the Market Hall 9 for a selection of German food and beer. The next day included the Brandenburg Gate and the iconic Berlin TV Tower, which made an appropriate segue to high-tech sites outside of Berlin. Erica added one of her own, visiting an automated dike system for flood control along the Rhine. Getting there required driving on Germany's storied autobahns, which have no speed limits, only recommendations. Other than when on the autobahns, they kept a leisurely pace, which allowed for occasional stops at quaint towns. But at the end of a week, Erica still had nothing specific for building a script and told Terry they should change their plans. I think we should visit another country. Maybe Italy or Spain will spark a video topic. We should head back to our Berlin hotel and make plans to fly back to London this weekend. Fraser should be happy to see us because you told me he loves our latest video. Okay, we'll fly back Sunday evening. What do you want to do before then? Send our luggage ahead and then drive around so we get to the Brandenburg airport in time for our flight. Not a problem. Before making a prediction, Terry glanced through the windshield after she and Erica dashed to their rental car parked in their hotel's parking lot. I'm glad we did all our outdoor sightseeing when the sun shone. This evening's rain would spoil any we'd want to do on the drive to the airport, but it shouldn't make the drive too dangerous if lights stay on and drivers use a lighter foot on the pedal. It won't bother me either. Weather doesn't interfere with my cell phone's GPS location tracking unless it knocks down too many cell towers, and I don't think that's in the forecast. As Terry pulled out of the parking lot and followed directions, Erica listened to Terry's rambling comments but couldn't comment. Cell phone tracking needed her undivided attention. I've been thinking, maybe you should work for the Times. Maybe we should live permanently in London. Maybe we should hold biotech town halls. Maybe we should set up trips to Zimbabwe and India. If analysts are right and they merge into the next superpower, we can scoop the competition. I'll run that one past Fraser when we get to home base. According to Erica's tracking, she could see 2 dots on her cell phone, one moving, showing their car cruising on Autobahn A113 toward a stationary one representing Brandenburg Airport, which is 15 miles south of Berlin Center. She was about to tell Terry they would arrive in about 15 minutes when suddenly her cell screen refreshed, now showing a second moving dot. And before she could push any button, a text message appeared. Electra says bad guys closing in. Do you copy? Over. Stunned, Erica could do nothing but text back. I copy. Now what? Over. Follow my commands and don't ask questions. Over. Copy that. Over. Terry didn't question directions for exiting A113 until Erica told her to park in a convenience store parking lot. But another message told her what to say. I want to get a candy bar. I'll be back in a jiff. Erica grabbed her purse and dodged raindrops before running into the store and waiting for additional commands. When the moving stopped next to Terry's car, another message came. Be ready to use what's in your purse and do what I command. Over. Roger that. Over. Electra sent enough information in the next 5 minutes for Erica to follow Electra's action plan when the go command came. Roger that. Over. Clutching her purse, Erica raced through the rain and darkness to the bad guy's car, a police car with lights blazing. She pulled a gun and bang-bang blasted 2 bullets into the driver's side door window. The guy at the wheel gaped. So did the guy in the back seat who was interrogating Terry. Erica screamed instructions. Both of you, drop your weapons slowly, get out of the car, and walk away. When the guy in back made too sudden a move, Erica put a bullet in his kneecap before giving another set of commands. Terry, grab his gun, push him out, and get your purse before getting behind the wheel. The guy in the front will be gone when you get back. 2 minutes later, Erica yelled another command while sitting next to Terry. Follow my directions and drive like hell. Terry didn't have time to say anything. Keeping the car from skidding took all her concentration, as did Erica's for reading GPS tracking and Electra's text messages. There was now one moving and one stationary. As they're moved toward the stationary one, Erica knew it must be a safe haven but said nothing. And when a second moving appeared, Erica yelled directions meant to keep them away from the pursuing dot, telling Terry to speed up as the distance between kept shrinking. Erica felt like a surreal video game player who had to get to the destination before the pursuing crashed into hers. The swerving and turning became fast and furious as the 3 dots came together. Erica's last command came just in time. Blast through the gate. Terry did, and then slammed on the brakes just in time to keep from ramming into a guardhouse sign that read, United States Embassy. 2 men with guns drawn came running. Erica knew what to say.